So at this point, Palworld has been out for over a year now. It came out in January of last year, 2024, and right off the bat, if you remember, it was just a massive hit. And also early on, if you remember, it very much got compared very heavily to Pokemon, so much so that it didn't take long for Nintendo and the Pokemon company to actually file a lawsuit on Palworld, or the creator Pocketpair. Now, despite this lawsuit going on for now about a year, I really haven't heard much about it, especially from Pocketpair, until today. They took to X or Twitter to make a pretty long post regarding this lawsuit, and it's not just like rambling about the lawsuit itself and their frustrations about it. It's more actually about how the ongoing lawsuit has affected and will affect the Palworld game as we know it. So I'm going to link this in the description if you want to read the whole thing, but I'm going to go over basically the main highlights. So they say that currently we remain involved in prolonged legal proceedings regarding alleged patent infringement. We continue to dispute these claims and assert the invalidity of the patents in question. However, we have had to make certain compromises in order to avoid disruptions to the development and distribution of Palworld. So keep in mind, what they are about to talk about is actually past tense. This actually occurred a few months ago. Maybe if you are like a hardcore Palworld player, you did know about this. I didn't know that this happened, but basically, it sounds like they had a change a few months ago, and it was heavily speculated that this was influenced by the lawsuit, and now they have confirmed this. So they said on November 30th of last year, we released a patch for Palworld, and this patch removed the ability to summon pals by throwing pal spheres and instead changed it to a static summon next to the player. Several other game mechanics were also changed in this patch, and as many have speculated, yes, these changes were indeed a result of the ongoing litigation. So they say that they are disappointed about this adjustment, but ultimately they had to do this because it was between doing this or a, quote, even greater deterioration of the gameplay experience for players. That's kind of interesting the way they are wording this. You know, we either had to make these changes or it was going to be worse for the players. And this is totally speculation, but maybe they're talking about a preliminary injunction of sorts. Like, I don't know, maybe if they didn't meet these demands right away, then Nintendo was going to maybe find a way to like take them offline for the time being while the lawsuit was up. I don't know, that's just my speculation. So that was a change that was made about 6 months ago, but it sounds like there is actually going to be another change that is going to be taking place very soon due to this lawsuit. So they say, furthermore, we regret to inform our players that with the implementation of a new patch, we must make yet another compromise. And this is kind of funny, or I don't know, however you look at it, it's just kind of interesting because it is a small change, but it is quite interesting. They say from this patch onward, gliding will be performed using a glider rather than with pals. The pals that are in the player's team will still provide passive buffs to gliding, but players will now need to have a glider in their inventory in order to glide. And again, they kind of say the same thing as the patch from 6 months ago. They say that we understand this is disappointing, but we hope that our fans understand that these changes are necessary in order to prevent further disruptions to the development of Palworld. And then to conclude, they apologized to their fans for the discomfort and concern that this ongoing litigation has caused. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like they are still fighting this lawsuit. Obviously, they said at the very beginning that they remain involved in prolonged legal proceedings, but it does sound like they have confirmed that they have caved and will cave to, I guess, certain demands, and that this was the better option to the alternative, which was something worse. And people are already making hilarious comments to this. I mean, the whole the gliding thing is very interesting because this quite literally means that Nintendo patented doing this, like patent using an animal or something to glide in a game. So the comments are really funny. One person said, the fact that Nintendo has successfully trademarked using your pet to glide is amazing. Somebody else said, how the heck does Pokemon have the rights to gliding with pals? Yeah, I mean, just off the top of my head, like, I think in Skyrim, I've played through that game one time in my life, and it was, you know, when it came out 15 years ago. But I mean, I don't know, that's just something that comes to mind. Like, don't you like ride a dragon to like the final boss or something? I feel like that comes to mind. Is that something that needs to be taken out of the game now? Somebody also said, if Pokemon put as much effort into their games as they did trying to crush Palworld, we might actually actually get a decent game out of them. Yeah, I have kind of seen this viewpoint come up every time the Palworld lawsuit is brought up, and I have to wonder because I haven't really been following Pokemon news recently. Like the last game I played was like Black 2 or White 2. But like this always comes up. Like people always say that Game Freak has not made a banger out of a Pokemon game in 15 years. I do have to wonder if there is truth to that. I mean, a lot of people do seem to feel that way, which is interesting because I don't know. I thought that recent Pokemon games did well, but I don't know. Maybe I was misled. But overall, Nintendo, it would seem, is at least partially, at least somewhat successful in their lawsuit because Palworld, we are seeing, is meeting, I guess, some of their demands, but this is still an ongoing lawsuit, so we'll have to see what happens as we go forward.